So I feel really strongly about this. I mean, I'm almost like ready to stand up at my desk and come on over.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The higher you get, the more important the investment.
Yeah. It's Claire Davis and Loren Greiff, and welcome back to another episode of today's Medical Sales Leader. I am so excited to have Loren with me. If you don't know Loren yet, let me tell you a couple of reasons why you must today and go follow her and go become as big of a fan of Loren as I am. So few, if any, ever embark on their job search ever thinking, oh, this is going to be a blast. Most of it go into what Loren would call root canal mode, right? Lots of pain. So Loren Greiff's mission is to change that for you and others who think that transitioning to your next position can't be powerful, effective, rewarding, and actually fun. So she has a C-suite and executive level career consultancy. It's called Portfolio Rocket. And it's based on the curriculum that she created after more than 30 years in the corporate recruiting of top talent for Fortune 500 companies, and as a boutique direct-to-consumer for brands and everything in between. So Loren's with me today, and what I absolutely love about her is she lives and breathes the credo that candidates, good top talent are found. They're found. It's not just about going out and grabbing that job. It's about positioning yourself in a place of power and authenticity so that you light up like a beacon and that you are found as top hireable talent. So Loren, thank you so much for being here with me today. You know I love you. How are things going over there? I promise we finally press record after chit-chatting for like 45 minutes. We've got to get down to the work here. But today we could talk about a million things, but if you are living and breathing in the United States right now, you know that layoffs are at an all-time high. And something else that Loren brought to my attention, that the C-suite is at its fastest rate of churn ever. Loren, what were you saying? It's 40 months for a CMO?
So for CMO, the estimated tenure is about 40 months, wow. Varying degrees of tenure at the CEO, CFO, CIO, CTO level, but you can pretty much say anywhere, depending on the size of the company, right? Mm-hmm. Anywhere between 3, 5, 7 years. So even though this is a lot of turnover, and it's a lot of turnover at the top. And even if you're not at the top, the point that I'm trying to make here is that the shakedown is real. Every time there's that change of command, the musical C-suite chairs, somebody is impacted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether it's layoff or reorgs, they have a synergistic partnership, right? They work oftentimes in tandem.
Oh yeah. You know, it's funny.
I could tell you, hey, that's coming to an end.
Yeah.
But it's not.
So we're thinking this isn't just a fluke of the market. It's not something that's seasonal. This is something we're going to see time and time again across industries.
Cross industries, cross sizes of companies, whether they be startups or enterprises. And it's the new normal. I mean, it really is. And this honestly isn't really that surprising. It's been going on for a long time, whether it was pre-pandemic, pandemic, post-pandemic, there are always changes in the marketplace. And for people like you and me, Claire, we're studying this stuff like our life's dependent on it, because it does. If we're not forecasting that information to our clients, we're not doing right by preparing them for what they can overcome the circumstances aren't gonna change because we want them to. The idea here is to find strategies to overcome them, whether it be ageism, whether it be a lack of skills, whether it be competition, whether it be compensation, whatever those are, they're not just going to vaporize. We have to be smarter about how we approach them.
Right. It's a little bit refreshing to me in one way. Of course, it is sort of jarring to know that the leadership of these major companies, and healthcare certainly included. So if you're listening here and you're working at Medtronic or Zimmer or Takeda, you know that this kind of stuff is happening to your organization too, right? We see these things happening in the market right now. And when this is being recorded, this is in February of 2023. And the thing for me that is refreshing is that it also brings to light, and I think is empowering people to say, hey, okay, so if the guarantee isn't going to be with the current company where I'm spending time, maybe what I need to be doing is investing in myself as a professional, with my personal brand, with my network, with the message that I'm sharing with the world, maybe with my leadership training. So, when we were talking a little bit before the show, and you mentioned this to me about the rapid change of the C-suite, there's a lot of corporate leadership training. There are a lot of offerings like this where once you get to a certain level, you're able to tap into some of these resources. But would you say that it is more important now to invest in these kinds of things on your own terms, like going into public speaking, coaching for yourself, and going into executive leadership and presence and maybe project management, PMP? Are these kinds of things that people should be looking about investing outside of what their company offers?
So I feel really strongly about this. I mean, I'm almost like ready to stand up at my desk and come on over.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The higher you get, the more important the investment.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because if you're involved in the work world and maybe you're looking or you're in transition, the skills at a certain point are pretty parity. The difference makers are in the type of leader you are and how much you have developed yourself. Success isn't something that gets pursued out here in this area. It's in who you are becoming on a day-to-day basis. And your team, your company, your compadres, your stakeholders, your private equity partners, they know that. So you can invest in the skills, and I'm never going to say don't, but you have to also fill the other areas that are surrounding that, which includes building those rapport, obviously your networks. All of this is so vital because people feel that. They feel that. They know that. And you can have the resume as a placeholder, but then eventually they're going to meet you.
Right.
And they're going to want to know, is what I'm seeing here the experience that I'm having in real life?
Some of those areas, and we sort of touched on them before, when you're trying to focus not on the job search and not on success as this external ring, this external brass ring you get, but focusing internally on a few of the factors that you can grow in. Leadership is one. What are some others? You mentioned networking.
Totally. I mean, these I'm like almost afraid to share them because they sound like no-brainers. Your communication style, both verbally, and the one that really kills me is the written. Oh my gosh. Seriously?
Yeah.
You'd think like writing a good thank you note would be a difficult thing to do. Most people don't. They don't realize how busy other people are and how scannable that communication needs to be. And a good subject line, not I'm following up. Oh, please.
Yes.
Snore fest.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be able to use the tools. Every single touch point is another piece of communication that tells somebody something about you, good or bad, right? That's what they talk about, your personal brand. And so if you're signing off your emails and it's dry and boring and there's no PS and there's no like wink in there, you're telling them you're dry and boring, you're cookie cutter. You're just like every other candidate.
Ah, there it is. That's the thing. And it's not, I think sometimes we feel like, oh, shoot, we see this new information on maybe how to write a stellar email that makes people leap through their computer to get in touch with you. And we think, oh gosh, I'm doing it wrong. It's not wrong. It's vanilla. It's bland. And the thing is there are resources out there that aren't just for marketers, right? I was talking with someone the other day, and they said, well, you're a writer. You've been writing, you know all the writing secrets and have done probably since you were in your 20s. And so basically right now, no, just kidding. I'm not actually in my 20s. But anyway, so, I still take writing classes. I think that it's worth wherever you are in this, whatever stage you are in the game, to continue to enhance your skill set. Last year was the first time I had ever taken a public speaking course. It blew my mind. People noticed. I know you know who I'm talking about. It's our best buddy, Brendan, right? Poor Brendan. I tag him and gosh, but it wasn't until today. It wasn't until this stage in my life, which now I've got a business and I'm not in that job seeker realm, that I'm realizing, holy smokes, if I would have known then what I know now, I would have taken copywriting courses. I would have taken SEO. I would have taken medical terminology courses. I would have done much more public speaking and confidence training, because that's what would have set me apart. It's not that I was doing it wrong, but I want to stand out. And that's where I think there's a huge opportunity for people, because as there are these shifting sands in the marketplace, and certainly there are shifting sands in the healthcare market. If anybody here who's recently been laid off, or you're starting to hear less and less from your boss these days, or you're seeing some of the C-suite leadership change hands, take note. Now is the time to get some of this stuff under your belt so that you can create the sort of evergreen, the sort of additional value that you are as a leader and as a professional that's not going to go stale. It's not determined by what company you work for. So I love this idea. Something else I heard you talk about on your recent show with Vamsi, incredible leader as well, was that you don't even use the term dream job. So let's pivot into that. Let's pivot into why we don't even talk about dream job as a reality anymore. So tell me your take.
Okay. So first of all, you have to know I'm always going to be anti-cliche. So anytime there's a cliche, I'm like going to blow it up. So that's just part of who I am. So if something is the same, it's funny. I've been thinking about this. I'm like ready to pull the trigger on this. I don't know if you've been seeing all these carousels on LinkedIn. I call them the black box boys.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, everybody's just jumping on this bandwagon because this person proved it out. And now I'm just going to copy. Not interested, right? Like not interested. Right. So if you also are jumping on the cliche that there actually is a dream job, forget it. Forget it. Not just because it's so transient in the marketplace, but the idea that it's this final destination and that there is this idea out there. I mean, the dream job that I had 10 years ago doesn't even look anything close to what it looks like now.
Right.
And this I believe, cements this idea that once you get there, you're done. You're done. I got my dream job done.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have to do much more because I won my prize. It doesn't work like that. You can have this is a stepping stone to this. This is a pivot to that. This is a new experience to explore X, Y, or Z. But this idea that there is a hard and fast place that you're supposed to land, I really just rubs me, it's like nails on a chalkboard, because it sends the message, I think, to each one of us that I don't need to keep playing in the game, and the game's not over.
Yeah. I think you're right. To me, it feels incredibly limiting. And I'll give you a story. So I was working with this gentleman not so long ago, and he was laid off from his company, and he calls me, he's walking on the beach, and he calls me and he's like, Claire, I just got laid off. Worst thing ever. The company, really, it was raw. It was rough, let go. So I want to go into find another similar role. Right. But to be honest, between you and me and the sand and the ocean waves here, I'm bored. But I know that this is what I'm good at. I know this is what my title is. So this is where I'm going to stay. I said, okay. And so we got the the resume done. We did LinkedIn. And then we started talking a little bit about who he is as a uniquely valued professional, and what kind of things he actually brings to the table. Like what are the moments when people say, you know what, you really helped me in this area. It's not really exactly related to selling a specific diagnostic oncology product, but this is where you had an impact for me. And we started leaning into that. And he got more interested, and we started talking about content on LinkedIn, and we started talking about marketing and this idea of going evergreen with your career, with your brand, with your presence. And through the action, through not being tied to what he was supposed to do, what his dream job was supposed to be, he found that there was this entire other world in commercialization that lit him up like a firework. And sure as shooting, that's what he's doing now, and he's absolutely crushing it. He's like tapped into this vein of exceptional excellence that he didn't even know was there, because he started to invest in himself, and it emerged because it was in him all along, but he hadn't taken the time until the investment in himself, in his branding, to even know that was a possibility for him.
Right. And I want you to, for me and any of your other listeners, put evergreen in context. What are you hinting at when you talk about evergreen, just so I can hear the thinking behind that?
So for me, an evergreen career is one where you aren't in this roller coaster of, I'm looking for a job, I need a job, or I have a job and I need a job. It's instead one where you're continually nurturing, you're continually showcasing who you are as a professional, growing as a professional, and networking, so that the opportunities don't stop. It doesn't just become this roller coaster. It's evergreen, like a tree that's green all year round. And being in Spokane, we have a lot of examples of those. And for me, what I've found is when my clients really embrace, and when I had the opportunity after far too many layoffs, I know you know this story, Loren, was that I was hit with the realization that the company could not guarantee stability in my career, that career stability is a myth. And no one wants to talk about that because it's terrifying.
I'm gonna go even deeper. I'm gonna be the whistleblower. It's a lie. It's not a myth. It's a lie. And we've all bought into it.
Right.
And we all think, which is part of the equation of that dream job, is that when I have my dream job, it also is code for I have security because I've arrived and I've sealed the deal. And I think that the paradigm, and I hate this cliche, you know, the paradigm shift, but the adoption of and the acceptance around, I can't get too comfortable. I can invest, but at the same time that I'm investing in the company that I'm currently at, I also have a responsibility as somebody who is signing up to be a change maker or transforming this industry, or somebody who's a quote unquote thought leader, or just somebody that loves what they do.
Yeah.
To also invest in ourselves.
Yeah.
One of the things that I talked about in the episode that I did yesterday with Vamsi was there's actually a guideline that suggests to people in the professional world how much they should put aside in their compensation for their personal development. SRAM actually gives us a tool, and they say 5% of your overall compensation should be allocated to skills development, personal development, making sure that you're not atrophying within your areas of expertise. Who does that?
Yeah.
There's a vacation budget.
Yeah. Right.
At least there is in my house. Right.
Heck yeah. I think this is a brilliant concept. I think 5% is a perfect place to start. And once, at least I can say that once I have had the chance to do some of this, and as a business owner, for me, it became more apparent because I'm wearing all the hats, many of which I never had before, right? Entrepreneurship found me. Suddenly I have this business. I have to figure out how to run it. So for me, investing was in that vein, but it started to highlight other ways that I could level up to provide more value to people that I'm working with. Oh my goodness, Lauren, seriously, if I had known this stuff when I was still in the field. So Alex Hormozy talks about this. Yeah, right. I mean, I wish we had known this before. And he talks about it in terms of education and taking, I think, even up to maybe 10% or so of the finances that you can per year to reinvest in yourself. Because when you take care of this, everything else starts to become a little bit more clear.
Totally. I don't know why there is resistance. I don't know why there would be, but there is. And I think it's based on another lie, which is, oh, I shouldn't spend that money on myself. I shouldn't, that's so indulgent. And I ask this question, all the time. Are you, where else are you going to get the best ROI? Because the best ROI of your life isn't going to come from a vacation or a pair of shoes, or even, necessarily from spending a lot of money on your house. It's really going to come from what you're making of yourself and the contribution that you're here to deliver on.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and we're seeing a lot of this happening also at the C-suite, where people are finally waking up and saying, you know what, my time is more valuable than my title and my compensation. I need that time. I need that time.
I wonder too if time is also a limiting factor for many, and not feeling deserving of spending that time on growing in a certain area versus giving it to work, giving it to family, giving it to others, right? Because it's important to do those things, but I think we all know, that when we don't take care of ourselves, we have less to give others in the first place. I wonder if it's that feeling of deserving, like I'm a CEO, I'm supposed to have all the answers.
That's
do I sit down?
Yes, That's just a
Yeah.
bunch of BS, because
Mm.
anybody who thinks that they have all the answers is in for a couple of rude awakenings.
Sure.
And you got to start with a level of humility, because if you are really of the mind that you are a servant leader, and you buy into this idea of continuous learning, it
Mm-hmm.
starts with you. You being CEO, you being whoever you are. And that's never going to change. Now you got to walk the talk with it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Exactly. And I think, I wonder too, if vulnerability plays a part here, because part of you must say, okay, I need to be able to run this part of my business. It's not my specialty, or I'm uncomfortable here. I need help. I need help. And admitting that, and maybe not, out loud, even just admitting it to yourself and then going after those resources.
Super powerful. You want
Mm-hmm.
to earn respect, build in some vulnerability, because that's what people really respond to, not because it's clickbait,
Mm-hmm.
but because you have respect for somebody who isn't necessarily showing up as the model of perfection, or somebody else who's just copping to some level of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And we all cheerlead for those people until it's us, and you have to try it yourself.
Yep.
We're like,
So
oh, that's amazing, good for you, I love your vulnerability. It looks good on you, but I don't know if I want to wear it.
it's not for me. It's not my color. No, that's okay. You get all vulnerable with your brand self. So
Exactly.
something you said earlier struck me today, Loren. And you said we over-index on the things that we know, and we under-index on the things that work. Can you break that apart for us and sort of tell us a little bit more about that idea?
Sure. So in the job search, we
Mm-hmm.
over-index on doing a lot of the things that we know we know that they should, not always, but we just go back to those job boards because it gets very tempting. It's like, well, it's sitting there, it's looking at me, and why not? Why not? It's kind of like, pulling down the what is that thing called?
Slot
That
machine.
slot machine. Thank
Uh-huh.
you. And going like, like maybe I'm that lucky winner. Maybe I'll outsmart that electronic algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somehow, some way it's going to be different for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we lean into that because it can feel very soothing. It could feel like, you know what, at least I'm doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And we start feeling like, wow, I could be the lucky winner and make some progress. And so we over index our time on a lot of the job boards. We don't know another way. We over index on how much time people are spending reading our resumes. We all know it's roughly 6 seconds. And I mean, I'm sure you have many people that come to you and say, you know what, I spent 7 hours on my resume and it still sucks.
Right.
Fix it. And so we spend all that time and we think that that's the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
We read those job descriptions and we take that as the gospel. We're like, well, I can check all these boxes, and that's I'm qualified for that role. I have so many people that say I fit everything on this job description, and I'm like, so does everyone else who's applying.
Yeah, right.
Did it ever dawn on you that most people who are applying think that they are also have the winning ticket? I want to know what's not on the job description that you're going to bring to that party.
Ah, nice. Okay. So let's talk about that. What are some of those things? What do you see, Loren, that isn't said in that job description that people need to be thinking about when it comes to applying for an executive role, especially for your clients?
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to quote our bestie here.
Awesome.
And this is one of my favorite quotes, and I use it all the time because I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
As you become more senior, you have less words to influence more people in less time.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Mic drop. Hold on. As you become more senior.
As you become more senior, you have less words to influence more people in less time.
Oh, wow. Powerful.
So what that means is get rid of your filler words. Make sure that whatever you are sharing, whether it be in a networking conversation or an interview, it's moving. It's causing some kind of response, reaction, emotion, something. You're leading that entire conversation in what you're sharing or not. And they're thinking, which is not on the job description, what they're thinking is, can this person be on my board and influence all these other people? Should I put them in front of the private equity group and have them really tell our story? That's not on the job description. Is it saying, we're going to have to lay off another 30% of our team? Is this person going to be able to deliver that in a way that demonstrates a dose of empathy and compassion without having our social media blow up and people dissing on us? That's what they're thinking. So you got to look way beyond what's obvious and really invest in some of the things that are that they're thinking about. What is their criteria? How are you going to make them really look good? But also, how can you authentically, I'm really saying this, walk the talk so that you are delivering for that organization, separate and different from anybody else who's in that candidate pool.
I think, do you think the fastest way to that is stories?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But good stories, right?
Yeah.
I had somebody who was an over talker and she's like, well, I'm just a storyteller. I'm like, no, I didn't say this to her. You're blabbing. So you gotta check yourself.
Get to the point.
Yeah, you gotta check yourself. Storytelling is not just for the sake of hearing your own voice. Storytelling has to drive some kind of aha moment for the other person.
Yeah. Well, speaking of aha moments, I know you and I could go on for hours on this stuff.
Forever.
I say round 2, we talk through some specific things that you have done in your career to do this and how your clients have seen results too. So until round 2, until round 2, where can people find you, Loren, if they want to connect with you?
Find me on LinkedIn. It's my home away from home. I'm there all the time. Or you can find me at Loren@portfoliorocket.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, friend. Until then, have a wonderful day. And thanks everybody for coming.
1, 2, 3, 4.